Leader. When I mention the word leader, what comes to your mind? Possibly presidential leader. Maybe the leader of your corporation. Or how about our wonderful leaders here? Jeff, your Toastmaster, Nick. But let me give you another definition of leader. A leader is not always a person who's in control. Leaders come in all forms and all shapes. A good leader comes from within an organization. They see that a task needs to occur. They figure out what it takes to get that task done, and then they ensure that that task is accomplished. Leaders definitely impact all of us. Let me give you an example. I was asked to speak at the Fiesta, ABWA Fiesta, that the New Mexico Area Council puts on every year. And I've chaired it for the last 4 or 5 years, so I should know what his name is. At this Fiesta, we invite guests to come and speak on business-relevant topics. As the hostess, I am required to introduce each of the speakers. Well, I was practicing to be District 6 Vice President, and one of the requirements in that job is to read out loud. We all know I have a little bit of difficulty doing that, so I needed the practice. So I'm up there, I'm at the podium, I'm standing, and I'm reading the introduction to one of our speakers. And I start to stumble with some of the words. I had difficulty pronouncing the words that Carrie, the company names, the locations where Carrie had worked. One of our members leaned over to a friend of mine, Barbara, and said, "Mychelle's having some problems up there. She's having some real difficulties reading. That's not good." Well, being a good friend that my friend Barbara is, she told Diane, "Well, Diane, Mychelle has dyslexia, and reading out loud is quite difficult for her." Well, Diane's response was quite easy. "Well, that's something she's going to have to work on, because she cannot be a good leader if she can't read her script out loud." Barbara says, "Yes, we're working on it, thank you." Well, at the end of the speech, and when Carrie was done with her presentation, Diane comes over to me and she tells me, "Mychelle, you really need to work on your reading. You really need to get the message out about your dyslexia and let people know why you're having such difficulty. Because if you don't, they're going to think you're stupid or something." Which is a fair analysis, because that's actually how you feel when you can't pronounce a word, when you're trying to read a very simple sentence out loud. Well, we went about the day, and the day came to a close. A couple of days later, Barbara and I are driving in a car, headed back to the East Mountains, and it's a little bit of a trek for us. And Barbara says, "You know, I have something I need to tell you, but I'm not sure that I should let you know this, but I'm going to anyway, because you need to hear this." And if you knew Barbara, you'd know exactly what I would say. So she proceeds to tell me the comments that Diane had. And she says, "You know, that really is something that we need to work on, because unlike the La Luche chapter, which is my ABWA chapter here in New Mexico, people don't know you as well as we do, and they don't understand your difficulties with reading." I said, "Thank you." Now, Barbara didn't need to share that piece of information with me. Diane, some would say, was gossiping or talking behind my back. But I didn't see it that way. What I saw were 2 District 6 leaders who knew that our district needed to make some improvements and some changes in our organizational leadership, and that if I was going to be successful in my bid for national president of the American Businesswomen's Association, I needed to make sure that people understood about my disability. I took their advice and I wrote a script. Now, many of you heard that because I've practiced it many times here. And at the Western Regional Conference, I'm standing up and I'm reading my script, word for word, as my welcome. When I was done, I was actually quite proud of myself. I had delivered a speech that was good, it was delivered nicely, I didn't stumble over any of my words, and I was quite happy. The next day, we're out in the audience, and We're doing an exercise where you go out and you thank people for making changes and influencing your life. And I'm out thanking all of the women who have changed my life. And this person comes up to me, taps on my shoulder, Mychelle, I want to thank you. I have a speech to deliver on Tuesday, and after hearing your presentation of how you overcame your dyslexia, I have no reason to be nervous or scared. I know that I'll be able to stand up and deliver the speech the way that I need to. I was very touched because, you see, we do this exercise every year, and that was the first time someone had come up to me and told me that I'd impacted their life. Well, I asked her to text me because I knew she was going to be able to deliver a wonderful speech, and I wanted to hear about it. So on Tuesday, I received a text message from Mychelle, and yes, another Mychelle entered my life. And she said, my speech wasn't perfect, but I delivered it with confidence. Thank you. You never know as a leader when you're going to impact somebody's life. You never know when you're going to have influence on them or inspire them to greatness. I ask each of you to think about the role that you play in your organizations. Are you a leader within your organization?